Welcome to the journey where silence speaks and the winds carve masterpieces. In today's episode, we invite you to step into the forgotten corners of the earth, the deserts. Not just barren wastelands, but vast living canvases shaped by time, untouched by human hands, and glowing with natural wonder. These are the places where the horizon stretches forever, where golden dunes rise like waves, and where mysterious rock formations seem frozen in time. From the ancient sands of the Sahara to the surreal salt plains of Uyuni, from fiery red dunes under blazing sunsets to valleys hidden between shifting shadows, these deserts hold more than heat. They hold secrets, wildlife that survives against all odds. Skies so clear, they make you feel like you're standing at the edge of the universe. In these remote lands, beauty isn't obvious, it's earned. It whispers, it waits, and it rewards only the curious. So here's the question: which desert holds the most breathtaking natural wonder you've never heard of? Welcome to a world where silence rules, wind whispers, and time forgets to move. This is not the Arctic or Antarctica you think you know. Forget the stereotypes of endless snow or unbearable cold. What you're about to see is far more extraordinary. These are the polar deserts, the Arctic and Antarctic, two frozen frontiers at opposite ends of the earth. And yet they are alike in one haunting, humbling truth. They are among the last truly untouched places on this planet. Glowing Star, it's a place where nothing grows, but everything speaks. The Arctic desert, spanning across parts of Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, and Russia, stretches like a sleeping giant, cloaked in silence and snow. There are no sand dunes here, only oceans of frozen white sculpted by merciless winds into ghost-like valleys and ice peaks. Temperatures plunge below minus 40 degrees Celsius. Sunlight disappears for months. And still, nature here roars in quiet wonder. Imagine standing where Earth kisses space, where the sky bursts into ribbons of green and purple during the aurora borealis, and glaciers creak like ancient giants stirring beneath the ice. Here, you'll see towering icebergs the size of cathedrals, frozen fjords that look like light carved into stone, and tundra glowing gold under the midnight sun. Everywhere you look, there are places so pure, no footprint has ever dared to tread, and life against all odds survives. A polar bear crosses a cracking ice shelf. An Arctic fox slinks between shadow and snow. Whales breach through frozen seas. Caribou migrate over endless plains. Each movement is a miracle. Each breath, a defiance of death. These creatures don't just live here. They endure. They evolve. They teach us what it means to adapt. But the Arctic is changing. Glaciers are melting. Permafrost is collapsing. What once felt eternal is now in retreat. And yet, beneath its ice lies ancient knowledge. Ice cores, unseen species, entire ecosystems locked away for thousands of years. The silence of this land is speaking louder than ever. And then there's Antarctica, colder, drier, and even more remote, stretching over 14 million square kilometers. The Antarctic desert is the largest desert on Earth, not because of heat, but because of dryness. Here, annual precipitation is less than the Sahara. But instead of golden dunes, there's a frozen kingdom sculpted by wind, pressure, and time. Nowhere else will you witness such contrasts. Vast white plateaus untouched by humanity, sky-blue glaciers glowing like crystal, and jagged mountain ranges piercing the ice like the bones of the earth itself. Beneath the surface lie hidden lakes sealed away for millions of years, like Lake Vostok, holding ancient waters possibly untouched by any modern life form. And when icebergs the size of cities calve into the southern ocean, they don't roar. They drift in silence, monuments to a planet still wild. Still, life finds a way. Emperor penguins huddle to raise their young in the harshest winter on Earth. Leopard seals glide beneath the frozen sea. Krill bloom in frigid waters, sustaining an entire ecosystem in near total darkness. Here, nature isn't interrupted, it's only observed. But Antarctica, too, is melting. Slowly, silently, irreversibly. Holding 70% of Earth's fresh water in its ice, Antarctica isn't just beautiful, it's essential. It's a mirror reflecting what we risk losing if we don't act. Scientists from every continent gather here, chasing answers before it's too late. Because if Antarctica changes, we all do. And now one question remains. Will we protect the last places on Earth that still remember what silence sounds like? Or will these frozen deserts vanish before most of us ever get the chance to see them? Deep at the bottom of the world lies a place where silence is louder than sound, where ice tells history, and where Earth's secrets sleep beneath a frozen veil. This is the Antarctic Desert, a land of extremes that defy imagination and remain largely untouched by humanity. Today, we challenge every notion you've ever had about what a desert can be, spanning over 14 million square kilometers. Antarctica is the planet's largest desert, not because of scorching heat, but because of extreme dryness. It receives less annual precipitation than the Sahara, but instead of sand, deep snow and ice carpet this land, building layer upon layer over thousands of years. Picture this, a place so dry and so cold that snow never melts. Instead, it presses into glaciers, carving the land beneath at a glacial pace. Antarctica's landscape is a living atlas of Earth's raw power. Majestic icebergs, some taller than skyscrapers, drift away from massive ice shelves. Their calving sends thunder through ice-filled waters, echoing across silent plains. The transantarctic mountains thrust upward like jagged spears, exposing ancient rock hidden beneath centuries of ice. In the rare dry valleys, wind blasts the land so fiercely that snow and moisture vanish, creating an otherworldly terrain often compared to Mars. Here, the sun refuses to stay in place. During summer, it never sets. In winter, it hides for months. This gives rise to the legendary polar night, a time when complete darkness blankets the continent, and the silence becomes so intense it can almost be heard. As midnight sun returns, it brings dazzling auroras, waves of green, violet, and red swirling at the edge of sight. This interplay of light, ice, and silence creates a spiritual canvas, so powerful it leaves even the hardest traveler breathless. And yet, life finds a way. Emperor penguins endure blizzards and brutal cold to breed their chicks on ice, not land, collapsing into massive, huddled flocks to stay warm. In the icy water, leopard seals patrol like connoisseurs of cold, and krill, tiny, glowing shrimp-like creatures, thrive and seasonally bloom beneath the ice, fueling the entire ecosystem. Whales breach through frozen seas and seabirds soar against the pale sky. Every heartbeat in Antarctica is a testament to the tenacity of life in a land that should never learn to thrive. Below the colossal ice lies one of Antarctica's greatest mysteries, subglacial lakes. Lake Vostok sits buried under some 3,700 meters of ice, isolated for at least 14 million years. Whatever lives there has evolved apart from the rest of life on Earth. Scientists drill ice cores, cylinders of frozen history that tell stories of volcanic eruptions, ancient atmospheres, and climate shifts reaching back hundreds of thousands of years. These frozen records are our clearest window into Earth's past, and potentially guides to its future. Antarctica isn't just a place to visit, it's a global regulator. It holds 70% of Earth's fresh water in its ice. If these glaciers melt, coastal cities could vanish underwater. Scientists say Antarctic ice is already retreating. Ice shelves collapse, permafrost melts, and ocean currents shift. Each crack opens a whisper, and each melt stream sends warning to every coastline, every island, every continent. Why should we care about a place so remote? Because what happens here doesn't stay here. Rising sea levels, climate shifts, even fish stocks and weather patterns, Antarctica influences them all. Standing on this ice, you understand humility. You feel Earth's pulse. You realize we are small, yet capable of great impact. This is where human curiosity meets planetary consequence. Antarctica is a place of extremes, where silence roars, ice breathes, and life endures against all odds. Every glacier holds a story. Every creature here is a lesson. So here's the final question. If the quietest place on Earth has the most powerful message to send, will we listen before it's too late? The Antarctic desert doesn't demand our attention, it deserves it. Though mostly uninhabited, Antarctica hosts over 70 research stations from around the world. Here, scientists live for months or even years, studying everything from astrophysics to microbial life trapped in ancient ice. They face storms that can tear apart structures and temperatures that drop below minus 80 degrees Celsius. But they stay, not for fame, not for money, but for knowledge. Because Antarctica is the purest laboratory on Earth, untouched by agriculture, pollution, or urban sprawl. The people here carry everything in and everything out. Every footprint matters. Every waste bag. Every power source is carefully managed. This is one of the only places on Earth where humans exist not as rulers, but as guests. Beneath the frozen soil, life stirs in the most unexpected forms. Microbes have been found living in brine lakes under kilometers of ice. Organisms that don't need sunlight, oxygen, or warmth. These extremophiles may hold clues not only to Earth's beginnings, but to life on other planets. Could Mars have once looked like this? Could Europa, Jupiter's icy moon, host similar subsurface lakes with alien life? By unlocking the secrets of Antarctica, we're opening doors to the stars. Those who have set foot on Antarctica often speak of it as a spiritual experience. The endless white, the deafening silence, the sensation of standing where no road leads, where no cities loom, where nature is in full command. It humbles you, it transforms your perspective. You begin to see Earth not as a collection of countries or territories, but as a single fragile organism breathing under layers of snow and time. So now the desert that freezes instead of burns, the desert that holds water, not send the desert that roars in silence. This is Antarctica, our final frontier, our global mirror, and our quietest teacher. Well, will we learn from its silence, or only realize its message once it's gone? Picture this, an endless horizon brushed by dusty winds. A sky so wide it feels like you could fall upward into it. And silence so complete, it hums in your bones. This isn't a dream. It's Patagonia, a land of paradoxes and primal beauty, where jagged cliffs meet frozen plains, and time moves slower than the wind. We're about to explore one of the world's most remote and misunderstood deserts. Not a sea of sand, but a sea of stone, silence, and soul. Imagine a land covering nearly 620,000 square kilometers. That's roughly the size of France or Texas. Situated in Argentina's southern provinces, the Patagonian Desert is the largest desert in Argentina and the 8th largest in the world. But what kind of desert? Not blazing sand dunes under scorching sun, but a cool, arid wilderness shaped by lashing wind, cold upwellings, and mineral-rich terrain. It's a desert defined by extremes. Fierce winds that carve sculptures out of stone, relentless sun, yet fierce frosts. Sudden storms that sweep across basalt plains. Brilliant sunrises and fiery sunsets that light up the sky in blazes of orange and purple. Here, rain is rare. Instead, the land listens to the wind, and the wind answers, tracing time across dusty canyons, salt flats, and dry riverbeds. These are places that defy imagination, where strata fold across ancient earth, where colors run hot or cold, and life thrives in improbable niches. The desert isn't dead, it's eloquent. The Patagonian wind is legendary. Gusts that silence voices, reshape dunes, push salt rings across plains. It's a wind that speaks of freedom and of challenge. Flash storms bring sudden rain, leaving mirrored puddles and reflections of the sky on cracked clay. Rooftops are scarce. Storms sweep with a fierce embrace, then vanish as suddenly as they arrive. Over eons, water carved hidden canyons and scoured rock into the desert revealed layered trunks of time, like the Torres del Paine to the south, though technically outside the desert. These mountains echo the sculpted force of wind and ice up the spine of the land. You might think such harshness would repel life, but you'd be wrong. In grass-streaked steppes, guanacos, relatives of llamas, run in silent phantom herds at sunrise. Patagonian foxes stealth through scree slopes. Down by hidden rivers, the ethereal Andean condor soars, wings spanning up to 3.2 m. Silent wing beats against the wind-aged cliffs. And in ancient non-desert pockets, oases like Pucón, flamingos cluster in Ria's South American ostriches chase the horizon. Every creature here is adapted to extremes, to gusting wind, scarce water, and temperature shifts from frigid night to sun-scorched day. They don't just survive, they thrive. Under this ancient desert lie stories of dinosaurs and early mammals. The Triassic Esquibulasto preserved some of the earliest dinosaur fossils, and just as poignantly, imprints of prehistoric life walking this now arid land. Layer after layer of silt reveals global shifts in climate, vegetation, and time. In museums and dig sites, scientists trace the lineage of life. The rhapsids, early crocodilomorphs, dinosaurs, and the extinction pulses that shaped life's course. The desert hums with their legacy. The Patagonian Desert is more than a remote curiosity. It's a climate record keeper, Its rocks and soil storing information about ancient rain, ice forests, and storms. It's a wildlife refuge, one of the last places where animals roam free under vast skies. Its solitude offers perspective, and its fragility reminds us that even emptiness needs protection. What happens here matters. To biodiversity, climate research, tourism models, and cultures, the desert isn't a backdrop. It's a partner in the story of Earth's future. Imagine standing at the edge of an ocean made not of water, but of golden waves of sand stretching endlessly toward the horizon. The air shimmers with heat, the wind sings through towering dunes, and the only footprints you see might belong to a fox, a camel, or a caravan long past. This isn't just a desert. This is the Sahara, a realm of extremes, myths, and untamed majesty. Sparkles, it's not the absence of life that defines the Sahara. It's the presence of something ancient, vast, and beautifully alive in its silence. Covering over 9.2 million square kilometers, the Sahara is the largest hot desert on Earth, stretching across 11 North African countries, including Algeria, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, and Tunisia. But to call it simply a desert is to misunderstand its soul. The Sahara is a living museum of time, a canvas painted by wind, sun, and geological epochs. Beneath its sand and stone lie fossilized riverbeds, remnants of a time when this land was lush and green. Prehistoric cave paintings in Tassili Eniger whisper stories of elephants, giraffes, and humans who once thrived where now only dunes remain. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar above 50 degrees Celsius during the day and plunge to near freezing at night. Sandstorms sweep across the plains, capable of obscuring the sun and reshaping entire landscapes in a matter of hours. Yet, despite the harshness, life persists. The Sahara is home to some of the most resilient creatures on Earth. The fennec fox, with its oversized ears, uses them to dissipate heat. The Addax antelope can go nearly a year without drinking water. Nomadic tribes like the Tuareg have mastered the art of navigating and surviving this seemingly inhospitable land for centuries, guided by stars, tradition, and an unbreakable bond with the desert. And then there are the wonders hidden deep within. The Rikhat structure in Mauritania, often called the Eye of the Sahara, a massive circular geological formation, so vast it can be seen from space. Its origin is still debated: impact crater, eroded dome, or something else entirely. Or the Black Desert and White Desert of Egypt, where black volcanic rocks and chalk-white limestone sculptures paint a surreal landscape unlike any other. These are places where geology becomes poetry, where silence echoes louder than words. The Sahara is also home to salt mines like those in Todbeni, where workers carve crystalline slabs from the earth under the searing sun, continuing centuries-old traditions. And hidden beneath the surface, but like many remote and pristine places on Earth, the Sahara is changing. Climate change threatens to shift weather patterns, intensify droughts, and alter the delicate balance of life here. Desertification creeps at its edges, turning semi-arid land into desert, pushing both people and wildlife to adapt or flee. Still, the Sahara endures not just as a place, but as an idea, a reminder of Earth's raw power, its secrets, and its silence. It humbles, it awes, it mystifies. To stand beneath the stars here with no light pollution is to see the Milky Way as our ancestors once did, stretching endlessly like the dunes themselves. For travelers, scientists, poets, and dreamers, the Sahara offers something no city or coastline can: a sense of timelessness, a confrontation with the elemental, a vastness that invites reflection. And so we ask, in a world racing towards speed and noise, what can we learn from a place that speaks and whispers? What stories does the sand remember? And what might we forget if we lose these last untouched frontiers? This is the Sahara Desert, not just a place on a map, but a world unto itself. step into a world where the horizon burns with liquid gold, where each gust of wind carries tales of ancient times, and the land stretches endlessly, untouched and wild. This isn't a fantasy or a forgotten dream. This is the Sahara, a realm of extremes, myths, and untamed majesty. Sparkles, it's not the absence of life that defines the Sahara. It's the presence of something ancient, vast, and beautifully alive in its silence. Covering over 9.2 million square kilometers, the Sahara is the largest hot desert on Earth, stretching across 11 North African countries, including Algeria, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, and Tunisia. But to call it simply a desert is to misunderstand its soul. The Sahara is a living museum of time, a canvas painted by wind, sun, and geological epochs. The landscapes are otherworldly. Giant erg seas of sand dunes rise like golden mountains, some reaching heights over 500 feet. In the distance, rocky plateaus known as Hamadas stand like ancient fortresses, carved by eons of erosion. And in the heart of this vast expanse, you'll find unexpected miracles. Oasis towns, where palm trees sway beside freshwater springs and life blooms defiantly. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar above 50 degrees Celsius during the day and plunge to near freezing at night. Sandstorms sweep across the plains, capable of obscuring the sun and reshaping entire landscapes in a matter of hours. Yet, despite the harshness, life persists. The Sahara is home to some of the most resilient creatures on Earth. The fennec fox, with its oversized ears, uses them to dissipate heat. The addax antelope can go nearly a year without drinking water. And then there are the wonders hidden deep within. The Rikhat structure in Mauritania, often called the Eye of the Sahara, a massive circular geological formation so vast it can be seen from space. Its origin is still debated: impact crater, eroded dome, or something else entirely. Or the Black Desert and White Desert of Egypt, where black volcanic rocks and chalk-white limestone sculptures paint a surreal landscape unlike any other. These are places where geology becomes poetry, where silence echoes louder than words. The Sahara is also home to salt mines like those in Todeni, where workers carve crystalline slabs from the earth under the searing sun, continuing centuries-old traditions. And hidden beneath the surface, vast aquifers, ancient reserves of freshwater, revealing the desert's dual identity as both barren and bountiful. But like many remote and pristine places on Earth, the Sahara is changing. Climate change threatens to shift weather patterns, intensify droughts, and alter the delicate balance of life here. Desertification creeps at its edges, turning semi-arid land into desert, pushing both people and wildlife to adapt or flee. Still, the Sahara endures, not just as a place, but as an idea, a reminder of Earth's raw power, its secrets, and its silence. It humbles, it awes, it mystifies. To stand beneath the stars here, with no light pollution, is to see the Milky Way as our ancestors once did, stretching endlessly like the dunes themselves. For travelers, scientists, poets, and dreamers, the Sahara offers something no city or coastline can: a sense of timelessness. A confrontation with the elemental, a vastness that invites reflection. Maybe the Sahara isn't empty after all. Maybe it's full of memory, of mystery, and of meaning. Venture into a world where ancient silence lingers between wind-swept peaks and sagebrush plains. This is not a desert of sand, but of stone, solitude, and startling beauty. This is the Great Basin Desert, a realm often overlooked, yet holding some of the most profound and raw natural wonders in North America. Sparkles, it's not the emptiness that defines the Great Basin. It's the quiet richness hidden within its vast stillness. Spanning nearly 500,000 square kilometers across Nevada, Utah, Oregon, and California. The Great Basin Desert is the largest desert in the United States by area. Unlike its sand-covered cousins, this desert was a crown of mountains and cloaks of sage, its wide basins bordered by sharp, snow-dusted ranges. It's not just dry, it's deeply alive, shaped not only by aridity, but by isolation. The Great Basin is a land of paradoxes. Summer temperatures can climb above 38 degrees Celsius. Yet winters bring snow and bone-deep cold. Here, rainfall is scarce, but the desert is dotted with hidden springs, seasonal lakes, and ancient playas that whisper of wetter times. Within this desert lies one of the world's oldest living organisms, the bristlecone pine. These gnarled trees have stood against wind and frost for over 4,000 years, their twisted trunks bearing silent witness to millennia. To see one is to feel the weight of deep time. In places like Great Basin National Park, Lehman Caves lie hidden beneath the earth, an underground world of delicate stalactites and shadowed chambers formed drip by drip over eons. Above ground, the park offers some of the darkest night skies in America. The desert's wildlife is as tough and tenacious as the land itself. Mule deer navigate steep ridges. Coyotes call into twilight. Kangaroo rats survive without ever drinking water, extracting moisture from the seeds they eat. And above it all, golden eagles soar across thermals that rise from the sun-scorched land. The Great Basin is also a cultural landscape. The Shoshone and Paiute peoples have lived here for thousands of years, their histories etched into rock art, oral traditions, and sacred spaces. To wander this land is to step through layers of both human and geologic time. But like many deserts, this region is not untouched by change. Rising temperatures, water scarcity, and mining activity threaten its fragile balance. Ancient aquifers are being drained and ecosystems strained. The desert is speaking, but are we listening? And so the Great Basin Desert stands as both marvel and message, a place where the planet's quiet power is revealed not in roaring waterfalls or towering cliffs, but in stillness and endurance. To know this place is to shift your perception of beauty. It's not flashy. It doesn't beg for your attention. But for those who stop, look, and truly listen, it offers a sense of awe few other places can match. So we ask, what happens when you find the extraordinary not in excess, but in essence? What does a whispering landscape teach us about strength, about grace, about the meaning of wilderness? Perhaps in a world so full of noise, the Great Basin is exactly the kind of silence we need to hear. This is the Great Basin Desert, rugged, resilient, and utterly remarkable.